I'm in the process of buying my very first house as a 28-year-old with no kids. I'm not married. Sitting here and regretting my decision. Yeah, I'm gonna be house poor.
For background, we bought a house in upstate New York. I'm kind of regretting it.
A $500,000 home.
Okay.
And we make about $10,000 every month.
I would sell.
What's going on, boys and girls? It's your boy Michael, aka Mr. Drake Visions, and I am your credit CEO, back at it with another one. You see the title, you see the thumbnail. Today we talking about homeowner's remorse. Let's get into these videos.
Had a situation come up with some clients of mine, and I am so curious to see how often this happens. These are some previous buyer clients of mine, and now they're looking for another home. They are move-up buyers, so they're looking from their first home into their forever home. One of the things that they mentioned was that the house that they bought had like a deal breaker situation, which was not a deal breaker when they bought the house. And that got me thinking. I've actually had that happen with previous clients who have bought houses, not necessarily with me all the time, but they've bought houses and they're like, listen, we thought this was great when we moved in. Now we can't stand it. And to be honest, the same thing happened with me in my house that I currently live in. I've lived in it for 7 years. When we moved in, I loved the farmhouse feel of it. I loved how every room was separated. It had character. It had charm. And then I had kids. And separate rooms with kids, not ideal. Huge pain in the ass, and I actually hate it now. We're working on it. We will be renovating. These clients are luckily in a position where they want to move up from their starter home. They always expected to, and they're moving into their forever home. But when they brought this up, it really had me wondering how many homeowners out there have bought a house that something wasn't that big of a deal, or actually maybe was appealing to you and then ended up being a deal breaker while you lived in the home, and or what was something that you didn't even notice and you loved now that you live in your home. I'm interested to know. Sound off in the comments.
Big screen. I'm sitting here trying to think about, what I used to like in my old home versus what I like in my home now. I think the number one thing that I hated about my first house is that it was 3 stories. The house I got now is 2 stories, but it's bigger, it's wider. But what I had was like 1,500, 1,600 square feet, but it had a third floor that was like living space, playing space, right? But I had kids, I had small kids. And to get to the third floor, it was like some winding steps. So I could never take anything upstairs by myself. I always needed help. So whenever I wanted to, change something out, put a couch up there or something like that, it took a lot of work. But with 2 small kids, it was like almost impossible. Now, the next thing was steps that was on the third floor, like it was like straight up and down. So if you slip, you was gonna ride your butt all the way down to the bottom of the steps. You know what I'm saying? And then I had kids, like I said, my daughter wasn't even walking at the time. She was just crawling. So it was an adjustment that I had to get over. But ultimately, I didn't make the adjustment. I just moved on. I just sold the house. At first I was renting it out and then I just sold it. But I am curious to see like what you guys may have loved about your first house and then ended up not wanting it in your second house, or not wanting it now that you're still in there. But I'm also curious, were you guys nervous in buying your first house? I know I was, and this next person was too.
I'm in the process of buying my very first house as a 28-year-old with no kids. I'm not married. I am in a relationship. I close in 7 days, and I feel like I should be super excited right now and happy, but in reality, I am terrified. And I am so nervous, and I want to back out, but it is literally way too late in the process for me to back out. And I missed my last chance to do that. And so now I am just like sitting here and regretting my decision, but we're just gonna have to make it work. We're gonna have to figure it out. And yeah, I'm gonna be house poor. Like, I don't know how I'm gonna afford food. I don't know how I'm gonna afford gas. I don't know what I'm doing. Who let me do this?
Big screen. Yeah, I got mixed emotions on this one. A couple things. I guess it's my belief that you're supposed to have a family before you buy your first house, unless you're just thinking about the investment portion of it, right? So where I'm from, on my train of thought is you're supposed to be saving until you get into a relationship. And then you start thinking about buying a house. And once you buy a house, then you start thinking about kids. Then you start, everything else is supposed to fall in place. But I don't think that's how the world works now. So I really can't say that I agree with people buying houses to be house poor. You understand what I'm saying? Like it would, I think it would be different if She didn't have a relationship, she didn't have kids, but she wouldn't be house poor if she got the house. But then again, maybe she just purchasing out of her range. I think that's happening here. In the comments, let me know what you guys think about this situation. But I'm almost certain she got pressured into buying a house because of where the market was at the time, kind of like this guy's about to explain to us.
Study shows that 93% of y'all who bought a house between 2021 and 2023 are unhappy with your purchase. What happened? What went wrong? Okay, let's just be real. You had real estate agents out here pushing clients to just buy anything and everything because interest rates were low. You had people literally giving people thousands of dollars over what the house even appraised for. Nobody was worrying about inspections. People were literally buying houses that were literally falling apart. Sellers literally took advantage of the market because they knew that now was a time to unload their piece of crap that they've just been sitting on. They have been waiting to cash out. And let me tell you, they made their money and they're sitting pretty. So now my genuine question is was the interest rate worth it?
Big screen. So as a financial counselor in the military, where most of the time when I talk to junior sailors, they really didn't know what they were doing because it's hard to know what you don't know. Most of the time we learn stuff from seeing it done. You know, a lot of people that were in the military was first time homeowners, not for just themselves, but for their family as well. So their mom never owned a home, their dad never owned a home, their grandma and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe somebody owned a home, but nobody really taught them how to buy or prep for owning a home. Now, when you're in this vulnerable situation where you think the American dream is to buy a house and you just got lenders, you got realtors like pressuring you to just get the house, also they can make a commission, it makes for a kind of terrible decision, I'm not gonna lie. But now thankfully, like we're in the age where you can just look at your phone and then you can have millions of people say what they like or don't like about a situation. So I don't think anybody has an excuse of why you bought at a crazy rate and now you're house poor and about to lose your house. And with that being said, we're about to watch one of the top financial channels give advice on somebody's situation when they bought their house.
I'm having a little bit of buyer's remorse with our house. We bought about a $500,000 home.
Okay.
And we make about $10,000 every month.
Okay. How much is your mortgage payment?
$4,000.
Okay. Yeah. That's why you're feeling that. You're about 40% of your income. And we would suggest that you be somewhere around 25%. Are both you and your husband working?
Yes, I'm a virtual teacher. He owns a body shop with his dad. So we're both working, and I want to sell, but I don't want to pay capital gains tax.
Yes. Well, let's look at this logically. All right. You're in at 40%. Now, the question is, can you find a way to increase your income by 15%?
I feel like we're kind of maxed out with a 3-year-old and a 3-month-old.
That's the reality of the situation. If you can't see a clear path to increasing your income 15%, so you're closing this gap, and then it's sitting at 25, 28, even 30%, right? Where it's a lot more comfortable, then you do need to consider some situations going forward. Now, let's look at this capital gains thing and with real numbers. Okay, let's say that you bought it for $500. Let's say you sold it for $540. So that's a gain of 40%. And your capital gains rate is based on your income bracket. So based on where your income is, I think in your case, you're probably going to be at the 15%. You know, you're either going to pay 15 or 20, I believe, if I'm saying that correctly. But 15% of 40,000.
I would sell.
Because I was thinking of just staying here another year and just keeping it real tight with the budget. And then
how tight is it? You know what?
Are you able to make it work?
Yes.
Without credit cards?
Yes.
If you can make it work for a year, then stay. If you can't put food on the table, you got to get out.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, we're not doing credit cards. My husband he likes his toys, so we have a third vehicle. We've got a truck, probably worth about $15,000, and I think we could.
He's not going to like me. He ain't going to like me. But if I had been one half of this bad decision, I would then be going, all right, I'm going to start selling stuff, and we're going to stack some cash.
Well, yeah, because you're going to sell that truck because the time is going to come for you guys to move, and you want to know what you're going to need? Moving truck, boxes, tape, all that stuff that costs, and that truck is going to come in real handy to pay for all that.
And he's a very talented guy doing body work. I'd like to challenge him to work a couple Saturdays. I know you need him at home. I'm going to get yelled at by Jade on Saturdays. But if I was this tight, I want to go find some margin, and I'm going to go work.
Yes, Ken.
Huh?
Men should work.
I'm not going to leave you stranded, but I got to go make some money.
Big screen. Hey man, I don't know if those numbers were right because I had to put up some money when I sold my house, and when you selling a $500,000 house, I'm wondering what the closing costs would be. How much money the seller would actually have to put up. I think she said 40%, but it was only going to profit about 40,000. If I'm not correct, I think she said that they bought the house for 500,000 and they could sell it for about 540. So that's not 40%, but I understand what she's saying. Well, I think she was worried about capital gains, and I'm pretty sure that you can roll the money that you made from the sale over into another house to avoid those capital gains tax. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. When she said my husband love his toys and stuff, when I hear stuff like that, it's like I'm hearing, hey, he's getting a 4-wheeler, he's getting a boat, RV or something like that, not an extra truck. But all in all, I think they bought out of their price range. I think they did what everybody else does, like that other guy said. They saw a house, 500,000, but they seeing a low interest rate, maybe like 3 to 4%, and then they just took it because everything else is like 7 to 8% now. Like it's crazy. So with that being said, now they're house poor because 40% of your income for the next 30 years is kind of insane. I'm not gonna lie. Now, I personally don't think they're as bad off as these next people because 3 months after buying their house, they already want to relocate. Let's take a look.
I'm at a really weird crossroads in my life, and I can't really figure out what I want to do. For background, we bought a house in upstate New York in 2021, and I'm kind of regretting it. There's not really anything to do around here, and it's becoming really depressing. The reason why we bought a house here was because I was remote, but my boyfriend still had to go into an office. So we were looking for houses that were kind of around the same area so that he could still commute. And then afterwards, he got a job that was remote 3 months into moving into the house. I think if we were both remote, we probably would have been looking for houses that were somewhere else. Like, I'm finding out that I'm much more of a city person rather than a country person since being here, and I kind of already knew that, but moving here definitely made me know for sure that I am more of a city person than a country person. We're in the Hudson Valley, so it's very touristy, but we're in the part of the Hudson Valley where there's really not much. I mean, there's a really touristy town called Hudson, but it's 20 minutes away. I'm just like not feeling this area. It's so different from where I grew up, which is a little bit closer to the city, and it's kind of more suburban, but there was a lot more to do, and it was so easy to get into New York City for like big stuff, events, concerts and stuff. There's just nothing here. The town I'm in feels like a drive-through town. Like, it doesn't feel like a town that you stop to live or buy a house or start a family or anything. It just feels like a place you drive through to get to somewhere better. So yeah, I'm kind of regretting it, and I'm not sure what to do. Part of me wants to just sell this house as is, but then I feel like we're never going to be able to buy another house if we do it because the price of houses are insane and the interest rates are insane. So it's kind of like we're stuck here. I really don't think that we would have bought this house if we were both remote at the time that we were looking for houses. I think we would have been looking in a bigger city like Boston or New York City or even like Seattle or somewhere like that. My mom offered me land to build another house where she lives, but I kind of don't want to live near my mom, and it's just, I don't know, it's just such a weird thing. Part of me also wants to just sell everything and leave the country. On top of that, we don't really know anybody around here except our neighbor and maybe like 4 other people, and that's it. All of our other friends moved away, or they're from the town that we came from, and when we moved, they kind of just were like, you know, goodbye, we don't know you anymore as soon as we moved away. And it's just been shitty. Like, it's been shitty and confusing and weird.
Big screen. Hey man, maybe your friends and family was just putting up with you because you were just there. From what I'm hearing, like, you don't have a positive outlook about anything. This is a lot of complaining, I'm gonna be honest. I thought you were going to complain about the house, but then you started complaining about the city, the people, the land. Your mom was going to gift you some land so you can build a whole new house, and then you're complaining about the housing market and stuff like that. Like, I don't understand why you even made this video. Maybe you was just using TikTok as a virtual diary, maybe? What do y'all think in the chat, man? I really can't call it. Hey man, thank y'all for making it this far. If y'all can help a brother out by hitting the like and subscribe button, that would be greatly appreciated. And with that being said, YouTube is going to recommend another video to y'all. If y'all want to watch it, it'll be right here. So I'll see y'all on the next one. Credit CEO out of here. Peace.